Welcome to your new SideQuest podcast with the intention of helping you through the game of life with mindful reframing and awareness as we all move through this journey called the human experience. It's time to level up. All right, everyone, welcome to your new SideQuest, the content that feeds your soul. So, in our world today, consuming content has just become a part of our lives. We are constantly on our phones, watching people online providing us either entertainment, inspiration, or educational value. At this point, anyone who has a business must have some kind of online presence. It's just how things work nowadays.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about, or we're going to go into depth more about the content that we as our own business owners and creators have been making for our social media accounts. So, Derek, talk about the direction that you've been going more towards with your personal brand.
So, I noticed recently, especially nowadays with, upcoming influencers, most of their content are more of a flex or, more of like a commercial advertisement.
Hmm.
UGC content, this is my life and this is what I'm doing or this is what I'm using. Cool, like here,
Yeah,
you guys should try it out. This is what I ate. I just felt so misaligned with the content nowadays because it it seems way too influency.
yeah, it's basically the same crap. Like you scroll and you just see like people using the same hooks, sometimes the same transitions and formulas and stuff.
Right? It just seems like everybody has the same type of videos, like the same type of content because they're literally following each other as an example.
Yeah.
And it's same content, different person. Same content, different person. So it was a month ago that I realized that I no longer connect with the content that I was producing because it is commercially, it is advertisement y, and as a personal brand, I just feel like I want to create more content that feels more connected with others, more vulnerable, and has a deeper value to it. Like, and for me, because I came from a film background, that's what I studied in school. I wanted to go back to what why I really wanted to make videos, and it's because I wanted to be a storyteller. And so I changed my content. I created more narrative based content with a message, and also I try to convey a thought. I journal every day. Basically, I journal every day and I take the stories or the entries and the ideas I wrote in my journal and I turn them into a story. And in that way, I feel more connected with that because I'm not just talking about something that I did
Hmm.
or what I ate. I actually am expressing my feelings, my what I felt at that moment where I made that journal entry.
Yeah, there's some creative and emotional writing versus, telling like what you did and why this product is so good.
And why my life is so fucking good. You guys gotta look at me. Fuck, I'm so like, no, no,
Yeah.
I don't wanna, I just don't wanna do that anymore. Well, when I changed my content, I noticed that, you know, of course, my engagement tanked because the following that I built consumes the type of influency content. They want to follow people who give them, like surface level value, like, oh, you can get this at this restaurant, this place opened up, you can get it too if you want. Oh, yeah, like they're all information based content that they eat up. That type of audience eats that shit up.
Yeah, and plus the algorithm pushes that more because it's like very retention edited too.
Like shortcuts, like very fast paced type of narrative or
Yeah.
like voiceover.
No room for pauses or
No
anything.
pace.
Yeah.
There's no real like pace. It's just straight up. This is what I eat. Da, 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 you can do this. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I understand. I understand why my engagement tanked, but overall, I I feel so connected to what I'm doing now that I don't care. And when people see me in real life, they actually compliment me, saying that, the things that you do now, I feel that, I feel like a sense of relief. They told me that it's just so different, that it's cool that I'm changing it up.
Yeah.
Although that it's not reaching as much people anymore, at least it's reaching the following that I already have,
Mm.
and they're connecting with it.
Yeah, isn't that ironic? Like when you kind of perform less on social media, but you do it with like, something that comes from the heart, you actually connect better with people in real life and they actually compliment you and tell you like this content, I'm like like I fuck with this, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It feels good, when people say that, even though there's not a lot of, engagement or reach. It just feels good when you at least made a little difference in someone's life, even like with the following that you have. It doesn't need to reach anyone beyond that necessarily, right? But overall, I feel like over time, as the algorithm adjusts to what I'm producing now, it will reach the right people, and eventually it will grow as its own little thing.
Yeah. Now, do you still do those same style of reels as before, like for different ones? Because I know you have some partnerships with different brands.
Yeah, so the ones that I am partnered with, the brands that I am partnered with, I still have to do the influency type content because, I'm under contract.
Hmm.
I have to do that because I'm getting paid. So I don't mind that, as long as I'm being fairly compensated for what I produce, I'll produce whatever you want,
Yeah.
Like it's not that like I I really want to, but I just, it's my job now. Like part of it is my job, so
Mm.
I do it as just work. So my strategy is like do the content that I want to do and schedule it like on a certain day, and then the other type of content that I get paid for, it will be like the rest of the days of the week.
Yeah, those are like your commercials on the side,
Yeah, I mean
the intermissions in betweens.
that's basically what it is. Like if Instagram is it was a TV, the main content will be scheduled on certain days, and then in between the main content will be the the sponsorships.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that because at least for now, as I'm growing my new content, that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm choosing to do. But how about you, Zach? I know that you personally don't want to mesh all different types of content into one account like how I am doing. Like, tell me your approach to this.
Yeah, so I would say I had a similar journey like yours, where my main account, I first started it with just experimenting with whatever kinds of content that I thought would really take off. And what I noticed that did grow my following is inspirational content and things that really just got people to like share it. And it was also educational too. It was about cameras and stuff like that, and very value driven. But over time, I noticed that my reels then became more infomercial. It started to lose its essence. I would say like I started to feel a little burnt out too because I was like, I feel like I'm just doing the same thing that other people are doing. And because I already had that audience established, I started to keep doing that and I wanted to continue. And I was afraid that if I changed up my content or anything like that, I would just start to lose followers. And so I then I started to diversify my accounts into different categories so that I wouldn't just be boxed in with my personal brand account. And now what I'm doing is I'm trying to be more intentional with my personal brand content. Like I'm doing more storytelling, I'm posting with intention, and I'm actually sharing the work that I'm proud of instead of, just trying to experiment and just throw out something and anything random out there. Because what I noticed with having accounts is that it's kind of tailored to who like what your audience likes and how they follow you and stuff. So what I did was I have now separate accounts, one for food content that I've just been starting to get more and more interested and passionate in. And it's also been part of my lifestyle too. Like I've been going with you to these media events and it's been really fun. And I just want something to really push that work through. And I also have a Z Media Hawaii account, which is my business, my videography and stuff like that. So the whole purpose of separating all these accounts is so that it's more, I guess, like there's more intention with where my content is going, and it helps me like categorize and organize it a little better rather than confusing the audience that I already have on my personal brand page. So that's kind of like what I've been juggling around is with like these different accounts. And personally for me, like it's helped kind of evolve what like how I generate business and leads and stuff like that. So I think there's different ways of managing your account and like how you present your online presence to people. But I've just kind of evolved my own brand to separate into these different accounts.
I definitely see the value of doing that. It just feels more organized, and yeah, like you said, each account is catering to its own audience.
Yeah.
And personally, I feel like overwhelmed if I do that. I know I see the value, but I would feel overwhelmed managing separate accounts. And that's why for me, it's like I'm putting everything into one. It's mostly because I'm lazy. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I am fucking lazy to run multiple accounts.
Yeah. It's definitely more efficient too because, it's just one thing to focus on.
Right, and overall, I feel like I am just focusing on my own personal brand in general because I am like an onion, right? I have so many layers of what I can do. I can do photography, I shoot like portraits, I shoot film, I do video, I tell stories, and all of that content is actually on my website in general. And my website is on, the bio of my Instagram account, so they'll see the link and they'll see my work. And that's why I personally feel okay with meshing my different ideas into one Instagram account because what I'm marketing is essentially just me.
Yeah.
And people fuck with that, like
Yeah, it's how you tell stories too.
it's the way I produce work, it's the way I tell stories, it's the way like I can relate to others. And we were discussing this earlier that I got a restaurant deal contract of a retainer from the video we made of smashing on Talents, and
Oh,
it's
nice.
totally unrelated to what like they were looking for, right? Like they're a restaurant,
Yeah.
and we were just making a video of us playing video games on Talents,
Yeah.
messing around. But the effect of that video was humor, right? It showed a part of us that was human, was just silly and open and free and pure humanity, human humor.
Yes.
So that is what they related to, and that was what made them want me. And that's the power of personal branding, is that they don't want just your work, they want you.
Yeah.
So that's why in my end, I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter what I post online as long as I'm actually being authentic. I'm doing what I want, I'm doing what I love, and I'm like dishing out a very pretty good quality video overall.
Yeah.
Right.
I can totally see that is having a focused account and putting layers of your content that really has depth and speaks to like all different kinds of people is what's going to give you those kind of opportunities, and it actually helps other people connect with you as a personal brand more versus like having multiple different accounts and then people are just like confused like, oh, who should I follow, and where am I gonna see your best work and stuff like that.
Yeah, each approach is valid on their own. Like spreading yourself out and categorizing your content into separate accounts. It definitely makes sense. And also the other part of me doing just everything at one thing it makes sense too. It's all valid. It's just I think it depends on just your capacity.
Yeah,
To
the bandwidth too.
Yeah. So what would you say, or what advice would you give someone who is a creator to define their path in their career but doesn't know what they want to do?
I can speak from someone who is still trying to figure out their career path, and I'm right now in the early stages of my freelancing career. So, what I'm doing right now by diversifying and spreading out my content into different pages is like experimentation, seeing what takes off, and really just trial and error and stuff. So, I think that's super important for anyone to start out is just like finding what's their niche, how, like, what kind of content really gets them leading closer to their breakthrough. And once they do find something that resonates with their audience, just like lean into that and just keep going.
The one thing that I want to say is that as you grow, even as a person, you will change. So that also means your content will change too. Because the more you figure out what aligns to you, the more like different your content is gonna be.
Yeah. So should people copy what other people are doing when they're first starting out?
I feel like in the awkward stages of that like journey, sure, do what everyone else is doing, try it out, experiment, get your feet wet. And if it doesn't align like how I discovered with the foodie content, then it's okay to change because as of right now, my income doesn't depend on social media. I have other, work that I'm doing and I'm not making money off of what I'm producing online right now. I'm seeing it as more like an opportunity to connect with who I am. And also, you don't want to, how do you say, commit to one piece of content or one niche
Yeah. You don't want to go all in and just be like, I'm going to do this forever.
forever because what if the thing that got you popular and got you a lot of followers is actually something you do not connect with, right? Like I know a friend who's producing, a certain type of content, like grew a following and made a course to sell, but like overall, like I know behind the scenes that he actually hates doing the content, that type of content. He actually doesn't like doing it.
Wow.
And but he's making money off of it, right? So you kind of like, in a way, if you do that, you shoot yourself in the foot where you're getting money and you're established as a certain type of creator in a certain niche, but deep down, like you never really liked it,
Yeah.
and that just destroys you, right? Like you having to feel obligated to continue to create a certain type of work and not even loving it.
Yeah. That's the kind of creative work that takes away from your soul. You want to do the work that does feed your soul.
Right. So that brings us to the mindful reframing as a creator or as just an everyday human being. Just do what feels right and what feels true for you. So it takes time figuring that out. It takes time to find alignment in what you want to do, but that's the reality of it. You need to experiment. You have to get your feet wet. You have to go down so many wrong paths in order to find the right one. And truthfully, we're still doing that. We're still trying to figure it out. But what's really important is that you feel that you're doing something that feels right to you.
Everyone goes on that journey and they all, start the same way, but we all have different ways that we branch off and find whatever feeds our soul and what creates meaningful work for us.
Do the things that make you feel fulfilled or at least aligned with your values. And it's okay to change because that's what we do. We change, we grow, and we become different every milestone we hit in life. So yeah, that's it, and we'll end it right here.
Well, we hope you guys find your passion and the kind of content that feeds your soul. If you guys enjoyed listening to this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast, then be sure to give us 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is your new SideQuest podcast.
Side quest complete.